welcome to the virtual version of this, the 2021 Coordinator Connection. We did this at Deeper Learning to a room, a crowded room. We were all wearing masks though, so that's good. We had we had about 20 people show up, and so they kind of got a preview of the way things were going to go this year. But you're joining us virtually today. You're going to hear what they heard, and you might get a little bit more information. I don't know. Jeff Sobolski, the man himself, is here today, and he is gonna share some stuff with you. But first, I want to talk about STLP in JCPS. All right, so before we begin, I kind of stole these from the digital citizenship folks that were deeper learning. I like these norms. So you're just going to assume positive intentions. So everything we tell you today, assume it comes from a positive place. And we're going to stay positive. There's no reason not to be positive with STLP. STLP is one of the most positive things there is, right? You can listen and you participate. If you want to ask questions in chat, my pal Steve Durham is going to be monitoring that chat for us, and I'll be monitoring the chat when Jeff's speaking. And then you guys, a lot of you are returning coordinators. If you have something to say, please pop in, and something to add to the conversation. Pop in and say something, and you definitely have stuff to add to the conversation. So we respect your wisdom. And really, this was true a couple weeks ago because it was like we were just starting with this new plan. But there might be some non-closure today, but we have a pretty good plan of what STLP is going to look like for this year at this point. So there might be some non-closure, but mostly the plan is set. So and it's a good plan. So those are our norms today. And let's just talk about STLP. I am Russ Hockenberry, and I'm the district STLP lead. This is my third or fourth year. I took over for an amazing leader, and more on that in a second. Let's talk about regional schools. So when we think about STLP, we think about school. We generally think about the showcase projects, the big projects that, for lack of a better comparison, I'm going to do it again, Jeff. It's kind of like a technology science fair, those kind of projects, but way better. And then you think about DPOJ, which are those digital products like digital art, infographics, digital music, animation, which is a cool one this year. We talked about, man, that's a brand new DPOJ. Really excited about that. And lots of video making stuff as well. And then you think about the live challenges, like the live coding challenge and quick tech recall, stuff like that. When we think about those showcase projects and going to regionals, which has been at U of L in the past and was virtual last year, in 2015, 2016, we had 9 schools participating in that. This is JCPS. For, my math is always off, but I generally think of STLP and JCPS. When I think about schools in JCPS, I think about 150 schools, which is like either which is either high or low, probably low, honestly. But we had 9 schools participate in 2015, 2016. And then the very next year we had 14 schools, okay, out of like 150. That's not really a great percentage when considering how large of a district we are, right? And back then it was mostly the stuff where you'd have the kids that would come to your computer labs, or they go around to classrooms and they would wipe off the keyboards. They would wipe off those keyboards with those Lysol wipes. And that was STLP in JCPS for the most part. Now we had stuff that was going beyond it, of course, but generally we thought of STLP. That's kind of what was happening in those years. Then in 2017, 2018, we had a great leader in Dr. Sarah Nash-Bumpus, who is now at Central High School, go to a meeting in Lexington, like at their coordinator connection one year, and actually find out what STLP was. And so when she found out what STLP was and what it could be, she's like, wow, this is amazing. We should be doing this in JCPS. We should have more than 14 schools participating in this. And so she became a very big advocate for STLP in JCPS and started recruiting folks. And she got those numbers up to 32 and 45 by 2018, 2019. So that was Sarah Bumpus and all of her work recruiting there. And she laid the groundwork for me to take over that next year and kind of laid the groundwork for us to get to this 82 number in 2019, 2020. So now we're more than half. So if we're thinking 150 is the number, more than half of our schools compete in STLP at the regional level. So that's amazing. And so what kind of led to that was, again, a lot of Dr. Bumps' groundwork was she started the push for paying you guys, one, for stipend, and for paying for buses to field trips to regionals in state, and to get you substitutes, right? That year in 2019, 2020. All right. And so that was a big push that we made STLP important in this district. And Dr. Kermit Belcher, our CIO, Chief Information Officer for Technology and JCPS, he's a big believer in STLP. And he was like, yes, I want to give these people $1,000 stipend, because, originally we were thinking, well, it's going to be something similar. It's going to be a smaller number or whatever. But he's like, no, STLP is important, $1,000. And so I was like, wow, okay, so $1,000 stipend. And think about it, you don't get much $1,000 stipend in JCPS. That's a big deal. And we're going to pay for buses to regionals and state, and we're going to get you subs, right? So that happened, and we increased our numbers greatly that year. And then last year, when we went all virtual and we didn't have to worry about buses and subs, we went up to 84. We had 84 schools participating in regionals virtually. So that's amazing. So we've seen growth every year. Every year we've seen growth. And this year, really excited about 21-22. And as of this time right now, we have about 75 people that have committed to be coordinators for JCPS. So Jeff, I know he just took a drink of that coffee because he's nervous. 75 in JCPS. So big number again. Really excited about. And in 2021, we had a lot of success. We had a ton of success. And I always look at it like we're climbing the mountain. We had 7 of the top 20 projects in the state. 7 of the top 20 were in JCPS, including the state runner-up for elementary in Norton Commons. So with their diverse bookfinders project. So that's a big thing. We had 7 of the top 20 projects in the state. When we think about those showcase projects, we had 25 DPOJ awards, which I love. DPOJ. I love seeing kids' digital art and infographics and digital music and videos and all the stuff they're creating with technology. DPOJ is one of my favorite things in the world. And Jeff jokes about that name changing or whatever, but I love DPOJ, and I don't care who knows it. So DPOJ is great. 25 DPOJ awards spread across 17 different schools, I believe it was. And then we had 5 live challenge awards. 5 live challenge awards last year. So we've got a great, diverse STLP program running in JCPS, and I only look for 21-22 to be even more great. And so or greater, as it were. And so let's talk about that. So how do we get there? One, you've got the STLP website from the state, that education.ky.gov site that Jeff's going to talk about, and the super sheet, the STLP super sheet. But you also have an in-house resource in jcps.me/STLP. And so with this presentation, I'll show you that on that website, you've got different stuff. You've got a timeline for me, which Jeff has a timeline for you as well. But I've got a JCPS specific timeline here of kind of what is happening behind the scenes. Like, this is our virtual coordinator connection. I'll be confirming your stipend here in the next week or so with HR. I'm just kind of hammering out those details. Some of your bookkeepers have already reached out to me and go, what's up with this? But we're hammering those details out. And here for you, if you're a brand new coordinator, this is helpful, because what should I be doing in September? Well, you should be forming your STLP and brainstorming project ideas. You should also be filling out that Get Recognized on the state STLP website. And then October, November, I've got, this is where you start to think about our STLP project is, what is it? Fill in the blank. The problem issue it addresses is, we will be using what technology? So there's your little statement that you probably want to fill out by that October, November date to kind of get you ready for your regional pitch, which Jeff will talk more about. And some more stuff in here as well. So you've got a timeline there. You've got what is and what is not an STLP project. And I use that example from last year, just saying we're going to do Minecraft is not an STLP project, but saying that due to the pandemic and our inability to gather in large quantities in a physical space, we created a virtual playground in Minecraft where we're going to take attendance and gather feedback. That is an STLP project, okay? So there's a big difference there. We're going to do Minecraft, not an STLP project, all right? But we're going to create a virtual playground in Minecraft because of this issue. that is definitely an STLP project. And then you've got some FAQs in there, stuff like, can I have a co-coordinator? Yes, and you just have to tell me and all that kind of stuff. So you've got FAQs in there as well, and stuff about buses as well, which is not going to be pertinent this year, except for perhaps the state, but we'll talk more about that when that time comes. So back to this, jcps.me/STLP, and that's where all of our lunch and learns, including this one today, will be housed, is on that jcps.me/STLP or our JCPS digital learning channel. Okay, and you have supports from me as the STLP lead for the districts. I've got a lunch and learn every Wednesday at 4 o'clock. I'll be doing a Google Meet where you can pop in and ask me questions, and it's usually a short thing, 10, 15 minutes, where I talk about something STLP related, and they are recorded and uploaded to our digital learning channel and posted on that jcps.me/STLP. I've got a 3 things email that I send out to you every Monday, and you've seen those. And then I've got, if you're a new coordinator or if you're a coordinator who's been around a while and you just want to set up a meeting with me, do that too. You can absolutely reach out to me and set up a meeting, whether it's virtual or face-to-face. So those are your supports from the district level. And with that, thank you and welcome. And I'm going to turn it over to Jeff Sobolski, where he's going to talk about what STLP is going to look like in the 21-22 school year. Jeff, I don't think I can hear you, man.
That helps, right? Got to hit the mute. So I'm going to try and share my screen with you. I don't know if I have permission or not. If I don't, then I'll put the link to my presentation. Let me give it a shot here. Hold on. Let me try the next one. And I'll go with the whole screen. Let's go with screen. I've got too many screens. Which screen am I going with? I'm going to go screen 3. No, I'm going to go screen 2. How about that?
You're good to go now, Jeff. I gave you host control.
Okay. Oh, thank you. See, there you go. So here's the thing, gang. We are almost there. Well, I'm still not having it, Russ, but that's okay. Because what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and put into the chat, and maybe you can go ahead and pull it up for me. Here's a link to our presentation today. Everything I talk about is going to be right here. 082521. Okay, so dropping that, I should have put the HTTP so you can make it linkable for you. But 82521. Here we go. So everything that I'm going to talk about today, I'm going to hit a few points. I'm going to hit some highlights. I'm going to dig a little bit deeper into some of the details. I'm going to give you just what you need to get started, to kick you off. I don't want to overwhelm you with a bunch of stuff, because anyone who has been part of STLP for a while knows that STLP can get pretty complicated. Why? Because we try to make sure that we have information available for every student, every interest. And as we pop up with new ideas and new things that students might be interested in or students might have an opportunity with, then we also make sure that we put those into competition areas or ways that that we can make students get involved. So the first thing I'm hitting on here is with this first screen is, how do we know if our students are winning? So I'm going to pose that question to you now. I want you to keep that in the back of your mind. How do we know when our students are winning? And again, there on the second slide, Russ, appreciate you rolling down. That's a link. So you can always come back and reference this. We're going to hit a bunch of resources today. I know you're going to want to come back and check them out. Russ probably has a bunch of them linked there on your district resources page. But if there's anything that pops up, you can always jump back into. And notice that bit.ly is just today's date, STLP and 082521. That's today's date. So if you have trouble remembering that down the road, just remember when we had our virtual kickoff. Okay, so to introduce myself, Russ kind of mentioned it already. If we haven't met each other, I'm Jeff Sobolski. I had the best job in the state of Kentucky. Go ahead and scroll down for me, Russ, because I have the opportunity to be the STLP chief enthusiast for the state. The amazing things that I see your students doing in JCPS and in your schools, I get to encourage and support all around the state. So without question, I have the greatest job at KDE. I get to also be on our digital learning team. So right now, and the last year has been very interesting and fun for us. While STLP is a big chunk of what I do, I also have been supporting districts in figuring out how to do digital learning. And you can imagine over the last 18 months, that's been a big priority, as well, as a lot of folks don't have the supports that you have in JCPS. You have a tremendous team with the digital innovations team behind you with Russ and the rest of his folks. Your different zone leaders, you guys have got, really, honestly, it's the exemplar way. It's what we want to see across the state. It works so well for you all, and I know that we can replicate it, but congrats on that. What I'm going to hit on real fast, next slide, is the top 5 most awesomest STLP secrets you may not know. Now, for all the folks that have been part of STLP for a while, I think some of these are going to shock you. The first one, as we scroll down one more, will tell you that we'll hit the basics, right? What's STLP? Well, we are the Student Technology Leadership Program. We are unique to Kentucky. We are the largest student-facing organization that's sponsored by the Kentucky Department of Ed. We are statewide, and we are the only state in the country that does STLP. No one else can manage it because folks don't have the support. And on this next slide, I'm going to hit super fast because I want to make sure that you know this. You have something to be proud of. We are part of an overall team statewide. Kentucky Ed Tech leads the nation. I'm like, we really, it sounds like one of those things where you're like, yeah, whatever. But when I tell you how we saw other states respond to lockdown, pandemic, trying to figure out how we were going to get, devices into the hands of students, how we were going to have teachers who had their skills ready to go to help with students do online and virtual learning, the support systems in place. Kentucky blew it out of the water. I mean, there are other states that are still now trying to figure out how do we get a one-to-one initiative and get devices in kids' hands for the next round, potentially, of us looking at virtual learning. I will tell you, though, that Kentucky is something that has supported STLP for nearly 30 years. So this is not a new thing. STLP has been around for a while. We've got lots of folks involved. Obviously, the numbers across the state. Russ hit some of the numbers earlier for JCPS. Super impressive. I actually had an opportunity. I talked to Dr. Bumpus earlier this week, and I keep telling her, I'm like, we would be where we are in Kentucky and STLP and JCPS is really, she's done some great work to get us here. And then Russ really came in right at the perfect time to take us to the next level and has done a great job. But the big question we have is, if we look at that next slide, is why have we seen so much growth? We've seen growth, and why have we seen that growth? So the reason we've seen that growth is because we have decided that STLP is, go ahead, one more, go down one more, is your whole school. Man, I love you for doing this, by the way, Russ, because I watch board meetings where there's like board members going, next slide. Sorry. I hate it for you, but you're crushing it. You're doing so good. We should give him a round of applause. I'm going to buy you a coffee. STLP is indeed your whole school. Yes. Thank you, Jim. What do I mean by that? Simply, it fits with every student that you have. I know that you're going to be thinking about things in different ways. For folks that are just getting started, have an STLP, a few kids at a time. Some of us are looking at it as a school-wide approach to project-based learning. There's lots of different opportunities across the district. So I'm going to speak generally and bring it into what are those top 5 things. The number 5 big thing that you probably didn't know is STLP is fully standards-based. And what do I mean by that? So next slide is, with the, I'm not a compliance guy. I hate, I'm more of the positive deviant that is looking for ways to make things better. And don't tell me I got to do something because it makes me lose my mind. Academic standards, though, Kentucky now has updated technology academic standards that are K-12. and should be taught across the board, cross curriculum, all grade levels, all content areas. They're just kind of embedded. The cool thing is that by doing STLP, when you have students participate, you are hitting those academic standards because we've built all of the rubrics and all of the activities for STLP around these new technology standards. We helped with the writing team. And so you know now that if your students are participating in any STLP event, you are hitting standards. And we are working this year to make sure that you know which standards you're hitting. So if you scroll down to the next one, you'll see that we have gone and tried to update. We've updated some very popular little standards-based posters that you can keep track of. Absolutely scroll through those. Those are available for you to download. You can use in any way, shape, or form. I saw an awesome example of them getting printed out and laminated and put up around the room, because the idea here with these posters is, yes, it's helping you as an educator kind of remember, oh, these standards are out there. But two, the goal here is to help students visualize and recognize how what they're doing is standards-based. I know they don't care about standards, but when they're doing it, it's asking questions that are student focused and in student language that will help them recognize, what does a global collaborator do? I will not hit on this because we could spend the whole rest of our time together looking at this. Something that is really cool, and here's a cool feature because I want to leave you with as many resources as I can. The link here takes you to a new, it's a Google Data Studio dashboard, and I'm hoping the link works. Come on, come on. Yes. So what we have here, since we're talking about standards and knowing that these technology standards are something that fit into every classroom, we knew that we needed to have a way for teachers and students to figure out, okay, how does digital citizenship fit into my 4th grade science class? And so what we've built here is a dashboard where you can pick and choose and sort, and you can actually go out and see examples of student exemplar work that demonstrate that standard in action. Actual student examples from around the state. Here's the really cool thing. 99% of the sample work that you're going to find came from last year's STLP students. Because we were all online for a year, we had a whole great repository of fantastic work from students, and it's highlighted here. So there is a lot of Jefferson County work, a lot of DPOJ stuff, a lot of projects, all linked here. This is something later, stop what you're doing, quit getting in there, because I know what you're going to do. You're going to spend the next 35 minutes going through looking for student examples of work. It's fun. Do that later, because we're going to jump back and I want to hit number 4. Number 4 is that STLP is resource rich. You have a ton of resources at your fingertips. My job is to help you not be overwhelmed with the number of resources. So the STLP website, Russ mentioned, jump on there. It's a lot of stuff. It is really, I'm going to be totally honest with you, it is built for folks that have no idea what STLP is about. To be totally honest, if you're coming at it from what is STLP, how do I get started, what does this stuff mean, the STLP website is a great place to go. If you are a seasoned STLP leader, then you're probably going to take advantage of the next thing on the slide list, which is our super sheet. The super sheet cuts right to it, and it is exactly what we say. It is an STLP. Oh, that's a bad link. That's a bad link. I'm not happy with myself on that one. But the super sheet is literally a Google sheet that has access to every single standards-based rubric, every activity, every deadline, every form, brief explanations of what everything is in one package. So you can tell by looking at this, that is a lot of stuff, right? So the idea is that somewhere in here, you have something that will appeal to every student in your school. All the students that participate in your STLP, I guarantee that they're going to find something that they're interested in. If there is something that they're interested in that does not show up in STLP, then tell me about it, because that is the beauty of being the STLP chief enthusiast for KDE, is we can make it happen. Just like we've added a few new categories this year. 3D design is new, right? Somebody said, hey, wait, well, how come we're not doing stuff with Tinkercad and stuff? I'm like, all right, well, you're right. We need to add that. So we've added that. We've added augmented reality. We've added some new categories. We've revamped some new categories, a new animation category. Now, all of those rubrics we're getting tweaked. We want to make sure that they are high quality instructional materials. So I run them through a process here with some peer review stuff before I post them, and those are in the process right now. A lot of help from the media design folks at Kentucky Education Television, KET. So those will get posted, some of the new stuff, but all of your resources that you're looking for, one-stop shop, super sheet. Okay. Another resource you can take advantage of is last year being all digital, guys. We have everything that got submitted is online. You can go check it out. If you're looking for more examples of, okay, what does the state championship project look like? You can jump back and you can look at, here's our 4 top prize winners, here's our runner-up, and the presentations that they did are actually listed there online, and you can jump out and explore their resources, what they did, and think about how you can build on it for your students this year. All the DPOJ finalists are out there. All of the projects are out there. So take some time, dig through those. Actually, we have 2 years worth of state championship stuff because we went 2 state championships in a pandemic and did it all digitally. So lots that we can learn from there. Another resource to take advantage of is we're going to always be giving you materials. A couple things that are here. We add and all of our documents and our resources and our rubrics, those are live documents. You'll notice that we have moved away from PDF and things like that because we want to be able to update it as new things come on board. If you're not sure about project-based learning, you're not sure about where to even start with how to build a project with students, the Real World Challenge Builder is one that we have sort of borrowed from Beechwood Independent, and it's something where they use, and you can make a copy of this resource, and it literally takes you through step by step. Here are some activities for brainstorming. Here are some activities for ideation, inspiration. So it's a lot of stuff, but man, it's a place to start if you're not sure. The prompts, I mean, it's a lot of great stuff, and we use it with their permission, with their blessing. So we're really lucky to have that. They're also working with us to figure out ways to make it even more STLP focused. So think about that. Another resource, guys, you got to take advantage of is if we look at the numbers of folks that this is just from last year's Get Recognized data. We've got so many different levels of folks involved. 24% of our folks that do STLP as STLP coordinators are library media specialists. We've got folks that are in the bus garage that coordinate STLP in other districts. People believe in it. So we have this rich network across the state that you can take advantage of. You have a great network in district, but if you join the listserv, follow us on Twitter at STLP Kentucky, we'll keep expanding your network. The listserv is great because you can post a question and usually get some responses back, kind of crowdsourcing it. But resource rich. Number 3, STLP is truly for every student. I don't need to tell you guys this because you already know it. We have such a diverse group of students across Jefferson County, and we have different levels of involvement that meet the needs of your students. So with that next slide, it's a reminder that it is your whole school. Take advantage of what you have out there. Later, we should come back, and when you get there, click on the link to this video. Kathleen's on here, and you'll see it. And I'm telling you, so last year you had runner-up state champions. The year before that, JCPS had state champions in the K-5 project category. And Kathleen, you did a great job of just capturing the moment when they found out the news. If you need something to kind of charge your battery up about why you're doing STLP, that reaction video is perfect to watch because it will really, really help you get on board. Just remember as you go throughout the year, STLP really is code for learning. The competitions are really smoke and mirrors to get students using technology, taking advantage of the spotlight that you're providing them. And now that it's tied directly to standards, you know that you can justify any activity you're doing with STLP is really class related. Number 2, this is a big one. Know this as you're coming in, especially this is speaking directly to all of our new coordinators or folks that are relaunching STLP for your school. You can personalize STLP to fit your needs. One of the great things is that we can make STLP be whatever it needs to be to help you, to help your students, to help your school. We're calling it, for the lack of a better term, the STLP maturity scale, but just know that there are different levels, and it's okay to come in at the first level, which is, you know, I've got 4 or 5 kids that are interested and they want to try robotics, and great. And we're working on a project on how we can use robotics to help with our local fill in the blank. That's totally cool. There is also the next level, which is STLP Plus. And in an STLP Plus school, we're talking about a school that has fully embraced the concepts of STLP into the framework of their curriculum, of the culture of their school. We have been talking about this for a long time across the state, for 5-6 years, about how STLP is your whole school, which has really changed the mindset from this is just an after-school club to, okay, wait, this does fit in school. This fits in my class. Wait, there's a course code for STLP and Infinite Campus that we could actually give credit. Wait a minute. So now STLP Plus has reached a level where we now have case studies that we can share with you. If you are interested, there are schools across the state who have essentially taken all of the STLP framework and built their project-based learning concepts around it. One of them here on the next slide is a link that you can jump out to. There is about a 10-minute video that will let you watch Simpson County Elementary School talking about how their entire school participated in STLP, leading to them having a state championship team last year. It all started with the trail cam. If some kids said, what do we do for our project? Well, I'd love to know what animals are in those woods out behind the school. Asked the principal, can we buy a trail cam? They bought a $150 trail cam on Amazon, stuck it on a tree. And next thing you know, you've got science class. You've got phys ed going out to check. You've got all the technology integrations. You've got custodians, bus drivers, parents, students at all grade levels in the school participating in this project. And so that's what we mean by STLP Plus. If you're not there, that's okay. That maturity scale fits everybody. There's something for everybody. So number one, you're already doing it. I don't have to say probably with JCPS because you're already doing it. How do I know that you're already doing it? Because you are already working towards the JCPS Backpack of Success Skills. And what that means is we have worked closely to tie all the things we do STLP into that so that it is interchangeable, so that as students are working on their Backpack for Success skills, they don't have to do a special STLP project. They don't have to do a special STLP something. You're already doing it in your classrooms because you're teaching standards-based stuff, and because you're doing STLP, there's that reciprocal relationship where by doing STLP, you're teaching standards. By teaching the standards, you're coming up with projects for STLP. By doing the Backpack, you're coming up with digital products, digital samples. And I was pumped today when I saw this background get posted because I love, love, love the idea of STLP being a partner with your schools to help students succeed. That's our goal all along. Pumped about that. And last but not least here, oh, that's a terrible slide because I had some animation, but here's the deal. If you zoom in on the bottom, which you don't have to, this is the minimum graduation requirement. So statewide, here's why STLP is fantastic, because right down there where it says demonstrate competency in technology, we have a lot of schools that are trying to figure out how do we meet the requirement of students demonstrating competency in technology as a graduation requirement. And the solution now is, if you participate in STLP, you've checked every single box to get there. Every one of your students that is collecting digital artifacts, they're doing DPOJ, they're working on projects. Those things all can go into, most of them can go into their Backpack, and those can also translate into STLP competitions, graduation requirements, etc. You're already doing it. You've got all the kids. This is going to be, here's what I predict for you in your schools this year. You are going to have, your biggest problem is going to be trying to figure out what STLP products and projects you're going to actually use in competitions, because you're going to have more than you know what to do with, which is a great problem to have. So with these last few minutes, let's dive into, and by the way, are there any questions at this point, any comments or anything? I'm not seeing anything in the chat, which is great, So let's just keep on trucking. This is the meat of it. This is what you want to get into, and this is what you want to hear about. What are the STLP things that tweet earlier was talking about? This teacher who said, I just realized today that I'm already doing a bunch of STLP things in my classroom. So what are the things that you can take advantage of? From a statewide perspective, we obviously, when we said STLP is code for learning, part of what gets kids pumped and excited to participate is that competition aspect of it. The competition aspect of it is a great piece. It's not the whole enchilada, but it's the great piece. And each one of the squares you see here are different activities that you can use with your STLP students to help them get involved. So the first thing we'll look at there is the projects. And projects are the big things that are coming up here this fall. And I want to make sure I got this link for you. Go ahead and scroll down one more for me there, Russ, if you don't mind. Yeah, there. Okay, sorry, I'm out of order. So first things first. So Russ has already set you up with the dates that you need. I know that he keeps that calendar for you all up to date based on the STLP important dates calendar. So if that's one less thing you can take off your list, I would reference his calendar. This one's great, but he's already got everything on there, plus all the dates that you need in Jefferson County. So the calendar is here. There'll be some links, but he has already got something great for you. So boom, you can take that one off your list of things to worry about. The next thing, go down, please. We've looked at the super sheet. We'll dive right past that one. You know that you've got advantage of that. Here we go. Regionals, December 6th through 10th. So what we have done for you is we have gone ahead and made a decision that all of our STLP project cycle, level I through level 4. So if you're used to me hearing me say level 1, 2, and 3, know that what we've learned over the last 18 months is those 3 levels aren't enough to really incorporate a great project experience for students. It's great if you're just going for the technology science fair with the 3-sided board and kids regurgitating a presentation that they've practiced, and then waiting a few months and coming back to state and blowing the dust off their cardboard board and giving the same presentation. That's great. But because we are next level with STLP, which by the way is how we've managed to be around for 30 years, we have recognized that really there's really 5 sections. And in that project toolkit, what we're going to share with you is, again, as I mentioned, we are really focused on making sure that you can incorporate all of the rubrics as high quality instructional materials in your classroom, if you so choose. And so the benefit is if you're just working with 4 or 5 kids as an after school program, this is high quality stuff. And so we're getting some approval right now for some resources that will get you that level I, which is inspiration, ideation, and implementation phase. That's what you're going to be doing now. Level I is what's happening, and Russ hit upon it in your calendar between now and say October. This is when you're figuring out what project are we interested in. Students are investigating what topics are interested. How can we use technology to solve a problem, to help our school, to help our community? So the focus is really not on the technology piece. The focus is what is the problem we're going to solve? Who are we helping? And then what tools can we use? Which as a district has been sort of the focus of all of your leadership, has been not let's pick a technology piece and put everything into it. No, it's what do we need to help our kids learn and get to the next level? And then how can we support that using the tools that are available out there? So level I, you're going to see that's where the challenge builder from Beechwood comes into play, but we're also have some other stuff. If you're familiar with Dr. Katie Martin and her work on student-centered learning, which blah, 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 it sounds like a bunch of stuff, but she's awesome. And we've got some partnerships that we've worked with her that I'm excited to share with you all, and some more resources that will just help you get through that level I phase. Level 1 will be what happens at regionals. So that level 1 project will be when your students are actually presenting their project pitch. This year, we will be virtual. The best bet is to let you know now so that you can focus on building those skill sets. We would love to be back at U of L. Actually, we had planned out that we were going to have a 2-day event. There was so much interest from JCPS, we had to expand to 2 days and throughout the region. We were pumped about getting back on campus and getting all the kids together and seeing everything, but we want to do what is safest for everyone. What will that be in November and December? Hard to say. So what's fair to you and what's fair to the kids now is to let you know, let's just focus on for regionals at level 1 projects. Let's focus on how we're going to present virtually. Now, what's different for folks who did it last year? Last year, it was create a presentation and post it. Judges viewed that presentation on their own time and gave some feedback and advanced you on to state, or didn't advance you on to state. We're changing that up because now we're actually going to do our regional events, but they are going to be live. They're going to be synchronous. Our students are actually going to present to live judges who will be virtually connected. The judges will have opportunities to ask some questions and give great feedback. So for our new folks, this is going to be great because this is already probably stuff that you have been working towards for the last year. For folks that are coming back and are our veterans, this is exciting because this is the first time I'm going to announce this. I haven't told anyone. This isn't on the website yet, so I'm going to share with you guys first. We always ask that every school that participates, your only cost of admission that we ever say is providing a judge, right? You're going to come. We just need someone to volunteer to come and be a judge for your group. Given all of the challenges of trying to coordinate your teams, doing an online presentation and being with them and making sure they have the technical support, and et cetera, we recognize that it would really be helpful if you didn't have to worry about judging. Because we're going virtual, we are working with the statewide digital learning coach network. So there's hundreds of digital learning coaches across the state of Kentucky, and we're working with them. They will be our judges for regionals for level 1 this year. So you don't have to think about being a judge for projects. You can put all your focus on getting students ready. The even better part of that is when we have volunteer judges, they are both our greatest strength and, frankly, can be our greatest weakness. So that means that for level 1, we're going to be working and training the judges on how to work with, coordinate, encourage, provide the best feedback. We're not even calling it feedback. We're calling it feed forward. Because they are going to be able to talk with your students, interview your students. It's going to totally be, again, standards-based, which won't mean much to students, but will mean great things to you when you get the feedback. And more importantly, what we're working on now is those judges being able to give video feedback to your students. So they'll be able to sit down and actually see the folks say, here's what I liked. Here's what I think you need to work on before you get to state, et cetera. We know that that is so much more helpful to your students than just getting a list of numbers back from a rubric. So that is going to be our focus, and we're going to move forward with that as you can plan for that. Nothing you have to really think about except how am I going to get my students prepared with their project idea? And then after that, how am I getting them ready for level 1? Awesome. So level 2 will be at state. Hopefully that will be in person. We're talking about how that's going to look. Hopefully we have a big vision for that, and I won't give you too much tease about that, but that will be April 20th. And we're really still planning ahead that we'll be together. Level 3 would be your state finalists. And then of course, level 4 is a new level that we've never really talked about, is what happens after you become the state champion. You have lots of opportunities that we like to give our state champions. In a normal year, we would take them to ISTE to present. Obviously, we've had some challenges with that. So how can we take advantage of you? Take advantage. That doesn't sound right. Take advantage of you, but take advantage of and provide opportunities for your students to really shine even more. Perfect. Next one, if you don't mind. Oh, that's fantastic. So as we're looking through this, here's some things that will help you focus on how, why projects are helpful. On the next page, we'll just jump ahead so slightly. Notice that things are they are laid out. If you look at this rubric, guys, all your students are going to be asked to do is essentially answer 7 questions. That's their presentation. What's our challenge? How are we staying safe while we do it and respecting intellectual property? How are we, getting our project and bringing it to life? And all this is a pitch. So they're going to have about 10 minutes with judges. They'll be able to pitch their project idea. They'll have the screen. They'll be able to share their screen. They can have a website. They can have a slide deck. They can have a video, whatever they need, they can have it. And then after that, there'll be time for judges. So knowing right now, the kids already have the rubric. They know what's going to be asked about them. You can plan around that. And then, of course, you can see here, they are tied directly. Each question is tied directly to the standards and some more resources. So let's jump back out of the toolkit for a second, back out to that slide deck if you can. The project toolkit is there. You can take a deep dive into that. Our next thing will be DPOJ. And as that's coming up, here's the thing about DPOJ I want to hit with you is remember, part of what you'll be doing as the STLP coordinator is curating and uncovering all of the student work that's around your building. So there's going to be probably digital art that is happening in another class down the hallway. That there's digital photography on that student's iPhone because they're carrying around an HD level camera everywhere they go and taking great pictures as they document life. So the big challenge there will be to start looking and putting out the all call for trying to get those submissions to you, which then you're going to post online in a form with a link. Judges are going to look at them remotely and provide feedback. And by the way, for folks from last year that know that what a hiccup and challenge we had with getting feedback to you, we've solved that. I'm excited about that. And we're going to be able to give you some rich feedback on your DPOJ stuff. My plea to you now is on August 25th, knowing that the deadline for submitting your DPOJ entries, I think it's February, maybe? I don't remember. I should know. I think it's like February 4th or something like that. Thank you. Thank you, Paula. Awesome. So start now. Trust me, start now. You're going to think, it's no big deal. It's too early in the semester. And then it's going to be October and you're going to be like, we really got to focus on our project. We'll think about DPOJ. And next thing you know, it's Thanksgiving break. And the next thing you know, we have regionals. And then you're like, oh my gosh, regionals are over. Let's just forget about it. And next thing you know, it's 2022. And you're thinking, oh my gosh, I've got this massive spreadsheet of DPOJ projects I need to get uploaded. So now is a good time. We have through the super sheet, we already have a planner out there for you. You can start plugging in access to different products. Awesome. DPOJ is great and a great way to get involved because you don't have to have a ton of meetings to do DPOJ. Lastly, and the last big activity of our big 3, the state championship, hopefully we'll be back at Rupp Arena on April 20th. Yes, we are working towards having all of our challenges back, our live events, reasons for kids to be there, and things to do after they present their level 2 projects, their level 3 projects, leading up to our big state championship award show, which will be on the main stage. Fingers are crossed, but we're going to keep you posted on that. I know that's down the road. Some things that you could do right now. Go ahead. Some things that you can do right now is we are also updating the level up. So if you have in the past used any of our level up badges, know that those are getting revamped and they're getting published slowly but surely. The reason why the level up badges are fun is because if you do have a group of kids and maybe you meet weekly, maybe you have a class with them, the level up badges are set up in a way where they're actually just a bunch of activities. And if you're like, what do I do with these STLP kids? Well, earn a badge. Check out the level up page, look for a badge, and you can work towards that badge. There's resources attached to each one. And right now today, because each of you are STLP coordinators. You can jump out there and you can download those email. Look at that. That's the wrong link. I'm failing today. That's like 2 bad links. That's no good. What is up? I'm so disappointed in myself. But you can grab those at the Level Up page on the STLP website. Those 2 badges you could take today and put them in your email signature if you're so inclined. We try to make them colorful and fun. And now launching your STLP, super easy this year. Step 1, if you scroll down one more, you've got 3 steps if you're brand new. Get recognized. You have a ton of JCPS schools that have already done the Get Recognized. Thank you, thank you, thank you. That helps me because I got to collect data on who's participating, who's doing it, where are you. It helps me plot it out. There's a quick, I think it's 5 or 6 questions. Tell us about your school. Tell us about your experience. Tell us what you think you're going to participate in, and submit it. And then you get the Get Recognized. You've already earned the Get Recognized badge by doing that. And now I can communicate with you directly. One of the questions on the Get Recognized is a preference. Hey, how would you guys like me to communicate with you? And overwhelmingly, everybody says, I just want you to email. It makes me nervous because I know what happens when things come to my email. I get overwhelmed, they get buried. But I also know that it also is a great way to reference back and find things. So if you do the Get Recognized, that is going to unlock your ability to be part of my mailing list to make sure you get updates, refresh, questions answered. So get out there and do the Get Recognized as soon as you can. Get connected. We really love to take advantage of social media, especially Twitter. Follow STLP Kentucky. And then, of course, if you're brand new, jump in and check out the STLP website because there are lots of resources for folks that are just getting started. Brings me back to this question that we posed in the beginning. How do we know our students are winning? And so I guess what I want to bring up with this is that if you take anything away from any conversations with me about STLP, is that the winning part of it, the awesome trophy. I mean, it's a giant trophy. It's really colorful. It's super cool. There are lots of great rewards and recognitions for being an STLP champion, but that's not the winning that we're talking about. The winning we're talking about is, how do you know that your students are getting to benefit from the opportunities that you're providing? From STLP's perspective, my biggest job is to just make sure that I give you the brightest, biggest stage to show off the work that your kids are doing, to show off the work that you're doing. I will say that I hope that STLP is a positive experience for you, and that translates into a positive experience for your students. My goal is to try and make things as easy on you as the STLP lead coordinator as possible. Russ makes my job super easy because he is fantastic, and the team that he works with are fantastic at supporting you, supporting STLP, and making sure that you're aware of opportunities. I hope that we are helping our students win by just giving them access to these opportunities and giving them the safe, positive place to come together and share those things. And I have to say to you, thank you. The reason why STLP is flourishing, despite a pandemic, despite having to go all digital for 1.5 years and not see a single student, is because of your dedication. Like, you guys have upped your game so much from my role at KDE, where I get to see how digital learning is being worked across the state. I can tell you that it's amazing how you have leveled up, each and every one of you. And I thank you, and we would not be where we are without you. The last thing I can say is, I'm here to help you. How can I help you? I'm ready to go. Russ is a great first line of defense, but I am always available. Reach out, email me. There's my Twitter handle, @JeffSabalski. I'm pretty quick with the Twitter DMs as well, if you're inclined to do that. Would love to connect with you and answer any questions that you may or may not ever have. Guys, that's a lot. I know that's a lot. That was a ton of stuff. Ton of stuff. I know it. And I know that it's 5 o'clock and you, I'm giving back 5 minutes because you have earned it. And it's